How about this? Dubai has an artificial archipelago in the shape of a world map. The world is an artificial archipelago consisting of 300 islands designed to mimic the outlines of all continents. Each island is intended for private homes or hotels, and owners can choose their country. This project reflects Dubai's ambition, creating incredible landmarks out of sand and water, making them iconic attractions in the region. Tiny plants, mighty power. Half of Earth's oxygen comes from the ocean. The oxygen we breathe is not only created by forests, but also by tiny marine organisms like plankton, algae, and seaweed. These little factories produce more than half of the planet's oxygen through photosynthesis. Thanks to sunlight, they transform carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is vital for all living beings on Earth. This amazing fact reminds us of the importance of the oceans and their role in sustaining life on our planet. Why do you think there are ice hotels in the world? In some northern countries, such as Sweden and Canada, hotels are built entirely out of ice. Every year these buildings are reconstructed as they melt by the end of winter. Ice hotels offer guests the opportunity to sleep on ice beds, in ice rooms, surrounded by ice sculptures. However, warm sleeping bags are provided to ensure a comfortable night's stay. It's a unique way to experience the real winter. Did you know that 2 to 3% of people don't need deodorant? Yes, it's true. About 2 to 3% of the population has a genetic mutation that prevents the production of unpleasant body odor associated with sweating. These people can engage in sports and physical activity without worrying about body odor. This happens because they lack the necessary bacteria that break down sweat and create unpleasant smells. This discovery sheds light on the diversity of human genetics and how we perceive body odors. Can you imagine that on Mercury, the year is shorter than the day? On Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun, time works in a completely different way than on Earth. It takes only 88 Earth days for Mercury to complete a full orbit around the Sun, but one full rotation on its axis takes 176 Earth days. This means that on Mercury, one day lasts twice as long as a year. Can you imagine living on a planet where morning and evening are separated by months? This astonishing fact makes Mercury one of the most peculiar planets in our solar system. Who would have thought that giraffe spots are like fingerprints? Giraffes are not only majestic creatures, but they also have a unique feature. Each giraffe's spot pattern is as individual as a human fingerprint. No two giraffes have the same spot configuration, which makes them truly one of a kind. These spots serve more than just an aesthetic function. They help regulate body temperature in the hot savanna and assist in social recognition within their groups. So, next time you see a giraffe, remember that its spots are as unique as your fingerprint. How would you react if you found out that snails can sleep for up to 3 years? Some species of snails can enter a deep sleep called estivation to survive harsh conditions like extreme drought or lack of food. During this time, they slow down almost all their bodily functions and seal themselves inside their shells with a protective layer. This state of dormancy can last for up to 3 years, allowing them to wait out unfavorable conditions until the environment becomes more hospitable. It's like going to sleep and waking up years later, only to find that the world around you has changed completely. 6 legs but no steps. The mystery of dragonflies. Dragonflies, like most insects, have 6 legs, but here's the twist: they can't walk. Doesn't that sound illogical? Instead of using their legs to get around on the ground, dragonflies use them for entirely different purposes. Their legs are perfectly adapted for grabbing prey in midair. Dragonflies use their legs like a little net to catch insects while flying. This adaptation makes them true masters of aerial hunting, able to catch prey mid-flight and then settle comfortably on a branch to enjoy their meal. For them, life is all about the thrill of the chase. Can you imagine that the moon is slowly drifting away from Earth? Each year, the moon moves about 3.5 centimeters farther away from Earth. This happens due to tidal interactions between the Earth and the moon. Billions of years ago, the moon was much closer, and in billions of years it may drift out of Earth's gravitational pull altogether. Though this process is incredibly slow, scientists track it using lasers and reflectors left on the moon by the Apollo missions. Did you know that cats can make over 100 different sounds? Cats are true vocal virtuosos. They can meow, purr, hiss, growl, and produce countless other sounds, each carrying a specific meaning. Unlike dogs, who mostly bark, cats use a whole range of sounds to communicate with humans and each other. This rich vocal repertoire helps them express their emotions, moods, and desires. If you have a furry friend at home, rest assured they'll find a way to talk to you about their plans. How can mysterious desert music frighten even the bravest? In the Sahara and other large sand deserts, you can hear an extraordinary sound often called the singing sands. When the wind blows over the surface of the dunes, the sand emits a deep hum, as if an orchestra is playing an invisible symphony. This sound can be so powerful that it can be heard for miles. Some researchers think the sound is caused by the sand moving across the slopes, while local tribes believe it is the voices of desert spirits guarding their lands. An endless chocolate bar, illusion or reality? The illusion of an endless chocolate bar is a geometric trick that creates the impression that a bar of chocolate can regenerate itself infinitely. It's an ingenious visual illusion that tricks our minds into believing in mathematical magic. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work with real chocolate bars. But wouldn't it be a dream come true if it did? Why does Italy have a bell tower that sings? In the quiet town of Cefalù, Sicily, stands an unusual bell tower that produces melodic sounds when the wind whistles through it. This effect is created by narrow slits in the tower's structure that transform the airflow into music resembling organ sounds. Locals call it the voice of the tower, believing it preserves the memory of ancient times. Tourists from around the world come to hear this unique melody on cloudy, windy days, filling the streets with a mystical sound. The most expensive painting ever sold went for hundreds of millions. In 2017, Leonardo da Vinci's painting Salvator Mundi, Savior of the World, was sold at auction for an astonishing $450 million. This masterpiece was long considered lost until it was rediscovered in the 20th century. Even after its discovery, debates over its authenticity continued. Many wondered if it was truly painted by Leonardo himself. Nevertheless, its sale made history, turning Salvator Mundi into the most sought-after art piece in the world. Believe it or not, the dragon's blood tree cries red sap. On the island of Socotra, there grows an ancient tree that releases a bright red sap that looks like blood, giving it its name. The sap of the dragon's blood tree has been used for centuries in medicine, as well as for making dyes and even in rituals. This unusual substance acts as a natural antiseptic and is still considered a valuable resource in some cultures. Legends say that the tree guards its secrets, and the sap is the tears of an ancient dragon. Xbox controllers in U.S. submarines. Gaming revolution at the Navy's service. Can you imagine that the U.S. Navy uses Xbox controllers to operate periscopes on submarines? This unexpected fact came about due to a desire to make control systems more intuitive and user-friendly for young sailors who are familiar with video games. Additionally, using off-the-shelf gaming controllers significantly reduces the cost of developing complex military systems. This move not only simplified the work of sailors, but also made it a lot more fun. Who would have thought that a beloved gaming gadget would find a place in such serious conditions? Can you imagine that eagles symbolize philosophical power? In philosophy, the eagle often represents concepts such as strength, decisiveness, and honor. This majestic bird symbolizes control and authority. The eagle's powerful gaze is seen as a reflection of leadership qualities, inspiring people to consider them as rulers in the realm of ideas. Philosophers have long used the image of the eagle to illustrate the power of thought and action. How iron buttocks help Samsung test phone durability. Have you ever wondered how smartphone manufacturers test the durability of their devices? Samsung uses a rather unusual method to test their phones. They created a special robot shaped like human buttocks that sits on phones to simulate the pressure people exert when they sit with their phones in their back pockets. The robot even wears jeans to make the test as realistic as possible. This innovative testing helps the company ensure that their devices can withstand everyday challenges and won't break under pressure. Can you imagine? Sharks that walk on the ocean floor. Yes, there are sharks that literally walk on the sea floor. These amazing creatures are known as epaulet sharks and belong to the genus Hemicillium. They use their fins like legs, moving across the ocean floor in search of food. This ability allows them to hunt even in the shallowest areas of reefs where swimming would be difficult. Their unique adaptation makes them true walking sharks among their kind. Isn't this an example of how incredible nature can be, giving a marine predator such unusual skills? Is it true that there is a bridge in China that only glows during a full moon? In Guizhou province, there is a bridge called the Moonlight Bridge, which becomes visible only under the light of the full moon. This bridge is made from a special material that reflects moonlight, creating the illusion that it glows in the dark. Tourists plan their trips around full moons just to see this unusual phenomenon. The architects who designed the bridge were inspired by ancient Chinese legends of moon spirits, and now this bridge has become one of the most romantic spots in the region. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. It turns out that hippos secrete bloody sweat to protect themselves from the sun. Hippos' skin produces a special reddish liquid that acts as sunscreen and has antiseptic properties. This bloody sweat not only protects hippos from harmful UV rays, but also helps heal wounds. In the wild, this feature makes hippos true survival experts, who have found an amazing way to shield themselves from the sun. The story of the word dude, from insult to friendly greeting. The word dude first appeared in the 1800s as a derogatory term for men who were overly concerned with fashion. But over time, its meaning shifted, and by the mid-20th century it became a casual term for addressing friends or even strangers. Today, dude is a friendly word that can refer to almost anyone and has become a staple of everyday slang. Who would have thought that a word that started as an insult would end up as a friendly greeting? Ducks with superpowers. They have 3 eyelids. Unlike most animals, ducks have not 2, but 3 eyelids. Besides the usual upper and lower eyelids, ducks have a 3rd transparent membrane. This extra eyelid helps sweep their eyes from the side, protecting them from dust and debris, and it also improves their vision underwater. Ducks essentially have supervision, allowing them to thrive in different environments. Can you imagine what it's like to have such an amazing eye shield? True superheroes in the bird world. Did you know that ancient maps showed sea monsters? During the age of exploration, when sailors had no idea what lay beyond the horizon, maps often depicted enormous sea monsters. The cartographers who created them frequently drew giant squids, whales, and snake-like creatures in the seas and oceans, warning future travelers of what lay ahead. Some monsters on these maps were inspired by real encounters with unknown sea creatures, while others were pure fantasy. For sailors of that time, a map was not just a guide, but a warning about the dangers lurking beyond the known world. Did you know Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world? Mandarin Chinese is not only one of the oldest languages on the planet, but also the most spoken, with over 918 million speakers. That's about 12% of the global population. Mandarin is the official language of China, Taiwan, and one of the official languages of Singapore. Interestingly, Mandarin is a tonal language, which means that the same word can have different meanings depending on the tone used. Imagine this. The word ma can mean mother, horse, scold, or hemp, depending on how you say it. This makes Mandarin one of the most challenging yet fascinating languages to learn. Did you know there is no concept of sound in space? The vacuum of space does not transmit sound waves because there are no molecules to carry them. This means that explosions or loud events in space, like in sci-fi movies, would actually be silent. If you found yourself in open space, you'd see flashes and movements, but you'd hear absolutely nothing. So space isn't just dark, it's also eerily quiet. How about this? In Turkey, there is an ancient underground city that could hold over 20,000 people. Derinkuyu is one of the largest and most mysterious underground cities in the world. It was built thousands of years ago in Cappadocia and consists of several levels deep underground. For centuries, the city was used as a refuge during wars and raids. It included everything needed for life: living quarters, wineries, churches, ventilation shafts, and even schools. The city was discovered accidentally in 1963, and to this day, archaeologists have not fully explored all of its secrets. Hard to believe, but the sun makes noise, and we can hear it. Although space is silent in the usual sense, scientists have found a way to hear the sun using special instruments. The sound of the sun is produced by vibrations on its surface and inner layers caused by thermal processes. Scientists have converted these vibrations into sounds that we can hear. If you could listen to the sun, it would sound like a low, humming noise. These solar vibrations help astrophysicists study the sun's internal structure, predict solar flares, and understand the processes happening in its core. Why do the leaves of some plants glow? In the dark forests of New Zealand, you can find a remarkable plant called glow moss, which emits a faint blue-green light in the dark. This phenomenon, known as bioluminescence, attracts insects that help spread its spores. Travelers who have seen it with their own eyes say the glowing moss looks like magical lights in a nighttime forest, as if they have stepped into a fantasy world. This natural lamp adds an enchanting and mystical touch to the forest. The most destructive computer virus in history. Computer viruses can cause enormous damage in a short time, but the MyDoom virus broke all records. Created in 2004, it became the fastest-spreading virus in history, causing about $38 billion in damage. It raced across the world at lightning speed, leaving financial chaos in its wake. A brutal reminder of the hidden dangers lurking in our connected technologies. Why do some old clocks have one number written incorrectly? If you have ever looked closely at the dials of old clocks, you may have noticed that the Roman numeral for 4 is often written as 3 instead of the standard IV. The reason for this lies in historical traditions. Roman craftsmen believed that a 3 looked more symmetrical on the clock face and was easier to recognize by the eye. This rule has carried over from ancient times to modern antique clocks, preserving its incorrect beauty. Did you know that wild bananas are full of seeds? Most people imagine bananas as sweet, soft fruits, but it turns out that wild bananas are quite different. They are literally packed with large seeds, making them extremely inconvenient to eat. The bananas we enjoy today are the result of selective breeding, which has made the seeds almost invisible. Imagine, without human intervention, bananas would be a completely different fruit, and eating them would be far less enjoyable. Clouds are heavier than you think. Ever wonder how much clouds weigh, even though they float so gracefully across the sky? Well, a typical cumulus cloud weighs about 500,000 kilograms. That's as much as 100 elephants. They might look light and fluffy, but they're carrying a huge amount of water. The next time you see clouds overhead, just remember the massive weight floating above you. Did you know Venus spins backwards? Unlike most planets in our solar system, Venus rotates in the opposite direction, meaning the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Scientists are still unsure what caused this bizarre behavior, but one theory suggests that Venus may have collided with a massive asteroid long ago, altering its axis. And here's another mind-blowing fact. A day on Venus is actually longer than its year. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast. But there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. The first speeding ticket. 8 miles per hour is too fast. In 1896, the first ever speeding ticket was issued in England. Walter Arnold was caught driving at 8 miles per hour, about 13 kilometers per hour, which was 4 times faster than the speed limit. A policeman on a bicycle caught up with the offender and fined him. This event became historic, and today's road traffic has left such speeds far behind. Can you imagine that trees can make it rain? Yes, trees not only produce oxygen, but also help form rain clouds. This happens through a process called transpiration. When trees release water vapor through their leaves, the vapor rises into the atmosphere, where it condenses and forms rain clouds. This natural process shows just how essential trees are to maintaining the water cycle on our planet. Every forest is not only a source of oxygen, but also a key part of the water cycle, without which Earth would be a very different place. Can you imagine that computer memory once used magnetic rings? In the early days of computing, memory was made up of tiny magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed. These rings stored data, and they could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, this technology was groundbreaking and used until microchips were invented. The rings were literally strung on wires, and every bit of memory was worth its weight in gold. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Shi Quping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it, and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Did you know that laughter is good for your heart? Laughter is not just a way to lift your mood, but also a great way to keep your heart healthy. Scientists have proven that laughter improves circulation, helps blood vessels expand, and reduces stress levels. It's like a natural medicine that helps your heart work better and longer. So next time you laugh, remember, you're not just improving your mood, but also giving your heart a great gift. Laughter really is the best medicine. How would you react if you found out there is an underwater museum in Greece? In the Aegean Sea, near the coast of Greece, there is a unique underwater museum. This archaeological site allows visitors to dive with scuba gear and explore ancient shipwrecks and artifacts lying on the seabed. It is the first underwater museum of its scale and attracts both history enthusiasts and divers from around the world. Did you know there are about 4,000 satellites flying above you? Currently, over 4,000 active satellites are orbiting Earth, performing various tasks. They provide GPS signals, weather data, telecommunications, and even climate monitoring. But that's not all. Each year, more satellites are launched into orbit, raising serious concerns about space debris, which could threaten future space missions. Did you know that sea cucumbers eject their insides to survive? Sea cucumbers are true masters of survival, and their methods might surprise you. When these unusual creatures face predators, they can literally expel their internal organs. This extreme defense mechanism distracts the predator while the sea cucumber escapes. But don't worry. After a while, the sea cucumber regenerates its organs as if nothing had happened. This unusual survival mechanism allows them to thrive in the harshest marine environments, showing that nature sometimes finds very unexpected solutions. The first computer bug was a real bug. In 1947, a real moth flew into one of the first computers, causing it to malfunction. This unexpected visitor became the first documented computer bug. Since then, the term bug has been used to describe any glitch in a computer system. Who would have thought that a tiny moth could play such a big role in technological history? This little incident also gave rise to the term debugging, and the story remains a quirky part of tech lore. The Eiffel Tower grows in summer. Every year when summer hits Paris, the Eiffel Tower undergoes a little growth spurt. Its height can increase by a few centimeters due to the thermal expansion of iron. As temperatures rise, the metal expands, making the tower stretch upwards as if waking up from a winter slumber. This phenomenon shows how even majestic and sturdy structures like the Eiffel Tower are influenced by nature. And when summer ends and temperatures drop, the tower shrinks back to its usual height. It's a reminder that architecture and nature are always dancing together in harmony. The inventor of the Super Soaker water gun worked for NASA. Who would have thought that Lonnie Johnson, the creator of the famous Super Soaker water gun, was an engineer at NASA? Johnson worked on developing advanced technologies for space missions, such as the Galileo project to Jupiter. But in his spare time, he developed toys, and one of his ideas became a global hit. The Super Soaker became an iconic water gun that kids around the world played with. This example shows that innovation can come from the most unexpected places, and an engineer's genius can create not only space technology, but also unforgettable childhood moments. Antarctica is the largest desert on Earth. Antarctica, despite all its ice and snow, is actually the largest desert in the world. Yes, you heard that right. The criteria that define a desert are low levels of precipitation, and in Antarctica, very little moisture falls. The average annual precipitation in some parts of the continent is similar to that of the Sahara. This makes Antarctica a true ice desert, where endless ice fields stretch instead of scorching sands. This fact highlights that deserts come in many forms, both hot and cold, and nature always has a surprise in store. Did you know why watches in ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hands set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way, the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. Did you know the term internet was first used in 1974? We all know the internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. Cleopatra, closer to us than to the pyramids. Cleopatra, the famous Egyptian queen, lived closer in time to us than to the construction of the pyramids. Her reign ended in 30 BC, while the Great Pyramids of Giza were built around 2600 BC. It's mind-blowing to think that Cleopatra is closer in time to the modern world than to those ancient wonders she could have seen in her Egypt. This is a vivid reminder of how history can challenge our perception of time. Who would have thought that clouds can weigh millions of tons? Despite their light and airy appearance, clouds actually have massive weight. 1 cubic meter of cloud contains about half a gram of water. Considering that a typical cumulus cloud can have a volume of over 1 billion cubic meters, its mass can reach 500,000 tons. That's about the same as 400,000 cars. Imagine tons of water floating above you. Why does Japan have an island inhabited only by rabbits? On Okunoshima, known as Rabbit Island, hundreds of fluffy bunnies roam freely, feeling like the rightful rulers of the place. Originally, rabbits were brought here for scientific experiments during World War II. After the war ended, they were released, and their population grew rapidly. Now, tourists from all over the world come to play and feed these friendly animals. Cats and dogs are prohibited on the island to protect the rabbit population, turning it into a true paradise for animal lovers. Did you know that frogs can retract their eyes to swallow food? Some species of frogs have an incredible ability to help them swallow their prey. They retract their eyes into their heads. When a frog catches an insect or small prey, its eyes sink deep into its skull, creating pressure that pushes the food down its throat. It's a strange yet fascinating spectacle in the world of amphibians. Frogs have evolved amazing adaptations that allow them to survive in various environments, and this is just one of the many unique features of their anatomy. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Amazingly, trees can communicate with each other. Scientists have discovered that trees communicate through root systems and fungal networks. This so-called wood wide web allows trees to share nutrients and warn each other about pests. They can send signals about water scarcity or threats so that nearby trees can prepare. This communication system makes forests much more complex and interconnected than we ever imagined. It's amazing, but the platypus is one of the strangest creatures on Earth. This incredible Australian animal, which looks like a mix of different creatures, has baffled scientists for centuries. The platypus lays eggs, produces milk for its young, and has venomous spurs on its hind legs. This combination of traits makes it one of the most unique mammals on the planet. Despite its odd characteristics, the platypus has lived on Earth for millions of years and remains a symbol of nature's mysteries and evolution. Owls don't just see, they mesmerize. Owls don't have typical eyeballs. Instead, they have specialized tubular eyes. This unique adaptation allows them to keep their eyes fixed, giving them exceptional binocular vision and the ability to rotate their heads almost 270 degrees. Thanks to this, owls become masters of nighttime hunting, detecting even the slightest movements in complete darkness. Their eyes are more than just organs of sight. They are powerful tools that make them incredible hunters, and every time they turn their heads, it's like witnessing nature's magic in action. Did you know that Margherita pizza was named after a queen? Margherita pizza, one of the most popular types of pizza in the world, was named after Queen Margherita of Savoy, the wife of King Umberto I of Italy. Legend has it that the pizza was created to represent the colors of the Italian flag: red, tomatoes; white, mozzarella; and green, basil. This is not just a delicious dish, but also a symbol of Italian national pride and culinary tradition. So, the next time you order Margherita pizza, think about its royal origins. It's interesting that elephants have toes on their feet. Beneath the massive feet of elephants lies something surprising: 5 toes with thick pads that help evenly distribute the giant's weight. This allows elephants to move almost silently, despite their enormous size. Furthermore, these toes help them walk on various terrains, from desert sands to dense jungles, without getting stuck or injuring their feet. This foot structure makes their movement light and graceful, with each step feeling the surface beneath them. What if I told you that your body has enough iron to make a nail? Have you ever wondered how much iron your body contains? It turns out that the human body has about 3 to 4 grams of this essential mineral. It may not seem like much, but it's enough to make a small nail. Iron plays a crucial role in our bodies. It helps produce hemoglobin, which carries oxygen throughout the body. Without this vital element, many bodily processes couldn't function. Now that you know this fact, you can impress your friends by saying there's a real nail of iron inside you. Galileo didn't invent the telescope. Many people believe that Galileo Galilei invented the telescope, but in reality, he improved upon an existing design. The first telescope was actually created by a Dutch spectacle maker named Hans Lippershey in 1608. Galileo made enhancements to this design and used the telescope for astronomical observations, discovering phenomena such as lunar mountains and Jupiter's moons. His contributions to science are invaluable, but it's important to remember that great discoveries often build upon the work of those who came before. Did you know that Dr. Seuss invented the word nerd? The term nerd, used to describe someone passionate about knowledge and science, was first coined by Dr. Seuss in his book If I Ran the Zoo in 1950. This whimsical term quickly gained popularity and became a beloved label for those who are enthusiastic about learning and geek culture. Thanks to Dr. Seuss, nerd has evolved into a term of endearment for those who love to dive deep into the world of science and intellectual pursuits. How did lasers help discover a ghost city under the jungle in America? In Honduras, scientists used laser scanning technology to survey dense jungles and stumbled upon the ruins of an ancient city hidden beneath centuries-old trees. This city, known as the White City or City of the Gods, had been forgotten and inaccessible to people for hundreds of years. Local legends say the city is cursed, and researchers found numerous artifacts that remain mysterious to this day. Butterflies taste with their feet. Butterflies travel the world not just by flying, but by walking on their food. They have taste receptors located right on their feet, giving them a sort of built-in gourmet GPS. These special sensors allow butterflies to quickly find the perfect leaves to lay their eggs. Imagine living in a world where you don't taste with your mouth but with your feet. Butterflies live in that curious reality every day. Turns out, there are bridges that speak. In some places, such as the Millennium Bridge in London, special plates emit sounds when people walk on them. These sounds are designed to resemble whispers or voices, creating a unique atmosphere. Especially at night, such a bridge becomes a real attraction, drawing tourists with its mystical sounds. The pistol shrimp, master of the sonic boom. The pistol shrimp, just 2 centimeters long, holds the title of the loudest creature on the planet. It creates a sonic boom louder than a Concorde jet by snapping its claw shut so quickly that it forms a cavitation bubble. This bubble then collapses, creating an incredibly loud sound, strong enough to stun small prey. This unique ability helps the pistol shrimp hunt and defend itself against predators. Who would have thought that such a tiny creature could produce such a powerful noise? How does Germany successfully run a crocodile farm? At the crocodile farm in Saarland Zoo, more than 100 crocodiles live comfortably even in Germany's harsh climate. This zoo is equipped with water heating systems that create ideal conditions for these exotic reptiles. Despite the cold winters, the crocodiles act as if they're in the tropics. Tourists can even watch them lazily swim or feed, making this one of the region's main attractions. The lonely giant, the saddest whale on the planet. Imagine a whale that sings at a frequency no one else can hear. This unique whale, dubbed the 52 Hz whale, is known for singing at 52 Hz, much higher than other whales. Because of this, it cannot communicate with other whales, and it is considered the loneliest whale in the world. Scientists and the public have followed this whale since the 1980s, and its solitary songs remain a mystery. Perhaps its story is more than just an anomaly. It could be a symbol of our own isolation in the modern world. Believe it or not, the world's deepest lake holds 20% of all the fresh water on Earth. Lake Baikal, located in Siberia, is not only the deepest lake in the world, but also contains 20% of the world's freshwater reserves. Its depth reaches over 1.5 kilometers, and its volume of water is so vast that it could supply fresh water to the entire planet for several years. This incredible lake is also home to unique species of animals and plants that can't be found anywhere else in the world. Lake Baikal is truly a natural treasure. Who would have thought the world's smallest fish is less than 1 centimeter long? The world's smallest fish, Paedocypris progenetica, found in the waters of Indonesia, measures only 7.9 millimeters in length, less than 1/3 of an inch. Weighing just 0.004 of a gram, This transparent fish has no scales or teeth. It lives in peat swamps and feeds on plankton. Despite its tiny size, this fish faces significant threats from habitat loss and pollution, proving that even the smallest creatures play a vital role in the ecosystem. Did you know that Scotland has 421 words for snow? In Scotland, the language is so rich in describing weather phenomena that they have as many as 421 words for snow. This discovery was made by the University of Glasgow as part of the Historical Thesaurus of Scots project. Some of these words are unique and sound quite unusual. For example, sneasel refers to fine rain or snow, and feefle means snow swirling in the wind. This vast vocabulary demonstrates how important snow and weather are in Scottish life. Believe it or not, the world's smallest volcano is just 13 meters high. The smallest volcano in the world is called Cuexcomate, located in Puebla, Mexico. This tiny volcano stands only 13 meters tall and has a width of 8 meters, making it quite miniature compared to others. It was formed in 1064 due to an eruption from the nearby Popocatépetl volcano. While Cuexcomate is classified as dormant, it sometimes releases steam and sulfur gases, reminding visitors of its volcanic nature. Fun fact, you can actually climb this volcano, making it a perfect adventure for those looking to scale a pint-sized peak. Why a day on Venus is longer than its year. Did you know that one day on Venus is longer than an entire Venusian year? Venus rotates around its axis so slowly that it takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation. But its year, its orbit around the Sun, lasts only around 225 days. Imagine standing on Venus, watching the Sun rise and set over the course of several months. By the time a Venusian evening arrives, 2 Earth years have passed. This makes Venus one of the most paradoxical planets in our solar system. Did you know that the pale blue dot is a photo of Earth taken from 6 billion kilometers away? This iconic image of our planet was captured by the Voyager 1 spacecraft in 1990 from a distance of 3.7 billion miles, or 6 billion kilometers. In the photo, Earth appears as a tiny, barely visible dot in the vast expanse of space. It reminds us of how small and vulnerable our planet is in the grand scale of the universe, prompting reflection on our place in the world. Can you guess when the first mobile phone call was made? On April 3rd, 1973, the first mobile phone call in history was made. This historic moment took place in New York City, when Motorola engineer Martin Cooper dialed the number of his competitor. The phone was bulky and weighed over 1 kilogram. This call marked the beginning of a new era in communications, paving the way for the sleek smartphones we carry with us today. Elephants can mourn and grieve their lost ones. When a member of their herd dies, elephants display deep empathy and support. The others gather around the body, gently touching it with their trunks, as if saying goodbye. Some even cover the body with branches or leaves and later return to the spot, as if visiting a grave. This behavior shows just how connected elephants are and how deeply they can experience emotions. It's a reminder that understanding loss and respecting the departed is not just a human trait. Did you know there is a musical record left on the moon? In 1971, during the Apollo 15 mission, a music record was left on the moon with recordings of earthly artists. This record, featuring songs from the Beatles and others, became a symbol of peace and humanity. Today, it remains there as a message for future generations, or even aliens who might find it and hear the sounds of our planet. Did you know that Mount Everest grows every year? Each year, the world's highest peak, Everest, grows a little taller, by a full 4 millimeters. This happens due to the tectonic plates beneath the Himalayas, which slowly but steadily push the mountain upwards. These tectonic processes have been going on for millions of years, and every time climbers reach the summit, they stand just a bit higher than their predecessors. Imagine, every step on Everest's summit is a step into new heights. It's not just a physical achievement, but a testament to the incredible natural forces that constantly reshape our planet. Everest is a symbol of nature's grandeur and its continuous movement forward. Superfetation. Is it possible to get pregnant while already pregnant? Could this really be true? It turns out, yes. Superfetation is a rare medical phenomenon in which a woman can get pregnant while already being pregnant. This occurs when ovulation continues even after conception, which typically doesn't happen as the body halts the ovulation cycle after pregnancy begins. As a result of this rare condition, a woman can carry two embryos of different ages simultaneously. Though extremely rare in humans, this phenomenon occurs more frequently in the animal kingdom, especially in certain species of fish and mammals. It's amazing but true. The human body is full of surprises, and sometimes nature can break its own rules. The first footprint on the moon could stay there for over 1 million years. When Neil Armstrong made his famous footprint on the surface of the moon in 1969, little did he know that it could remain there for millions of years. Because the moon has no atmosphere, there are no processes like wind or rain to erase the print. This makes the moon a kind of time capsule, where astronauts' footprints could remain almost forever. That footprint will always be a symbol of humanity's drive to explore and conquer space. Did you know chickens are descendants of tyrannosaurs? The next time you see a chicken, think about this. You're looking at a distant descendant of the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. Scientific research has shown that chickens and some other modern birds share more traits with these prehistoric predators than any other living animal. This genetic link between chickens and dinosaurs may seem strange, but it's yet another fascinating example of how evolution shapes species. Who would have thought that the mighty T-Rex would one day evolve into a humble chicken? You'll never look at chickens the same way again. Is it really possible that in Norway there is a tunnel where goats are herded every day? In Norway, there is the unique Lærdal Tunnel, which is considered the longest road tunnel in the world, stretching more than 24 kilometers. But what's surprising is that every spring this tunnel is not only used by cars, but also to herd goats. During migration, the animals cross the tunnel in search of pastures, and it has become a local tradition. Not only is it safer for the goats than mountain roads, but it also attracts tourists. Did you know that we lose a total of 9 years of life on smartphone screens? Imagine this. According to research, the average person spends about 3 hours a day on their smartphone. Now multiply that over an entire lifetime, let's say 72 years. It turns out that a whole 9 years of your life is spent staring at your phone screen. Can you imagine how much you could accomplish in that time? Traveling to new countries, learning multiple languages, or writing a book, there are endless possibilities. Next time you pick up your phone, remember, you have 9 years you could live differently. Did you know that some mushrooms can glow in the dark? Certain types of mushrooms have a magical ability to glow in the dark, creating a mystical forest scene. This phenomenon is called bioluminescence. When walking through the woods at night, some mushrooms emit a soft, mysterious glow, turning the forest floor into a fairy tale. This glow attracts insects, helping the mushrooms spread their spores, making them not only beautiful, but functional. Bioluminescent mushrooms are yet another example of nature's wonders. Contrary to everything, dark matter is actually invisible. Dark matter doesn't interact with light, so it cannot be seen directly. However, scientists know about its existence through indirect signs. It affects the rotation speed of galaxies and bends light around them. This mysterious substance makes up more than 80% of the universe's mass, but it remains one of the biggest mysteries of modern space science. Did you know that squirrels can cause power outages? It turns out that cute, fluffy squirrels can cause significant damage to the power grid. In the United States, about 10 to 20% of all power outages happen because squirrels accidentally come into contact with wires and electrical equipment. These little mischief makers love climbing power lines, sometimes touching dangerous parts of the equipment. This leads to short circuits and outages that can affect entire cities. Who would have thought that such innocent-looking creatures could cause serious energy problems? Next time you see a squirrel on a tree, Think about its potential as a saboteur. Eyes bigger than the brain. The amazing anatomy of ostriches. As strange as it may seem, ostriches have eyes bigger than their brains. These huge birds have the largest eyes of any land animal, with a diameter of up to 5 centimeters. But despite this, their brain is relatively small. However, thanks to their large eyes, ostriches can see far distances and detect danger long before it gets close. What incredible creatures ostriches are. Large eyes but a small brain that still manages to perform all the necessary functions. The slowest musical composition will last 639 years. In 2001, a group of musicians began playing John Cage's piece called As Slow as Possible. This unique performance is set to last 639 years and will finish only in 2640. Just think, several generations of people will listen to the same musical piece, hearing only slight changes in melody each year. This is the longest musical performance in human history. The first item ever sold on eBay was a broken laser pointer. In 1995, eBay founder Pierre Omidyar listed a broken laser pointer as a test for his new platform. Surprisingly, it was bought by a collector of broken laser pointers for $14.83. This unexpected success demonstrated the potential of online commerce, showing that even seemingly useless items could find a buyer. Who would have thought that a broken object would change the world of online sales forever? Your chances of winning the lottery? Dangerously low. How likely do you think it is to win the lottery? Believe it or not, the chances of dying on your way to buy a lottery ticket are higher than hitting the jackpot. Statistically, your odds of winning the lottery are so low that you're more likely to suffer from an unfortunate accident. This doesn't mean you shouldn't play, but perhaps it's worth remembering that true luck is just getting home safe and sound. So if you decide to try your luck, be cautious. Sometimes, the road to your dream can be more dangerous than you think. The spring equinox. More than just a change of seasons. The first day of spring is known as the vernal equinox. The term vernal comes from the Latin word for spring, while equinox means equal night in Latin. During this time, day and night are nearly equal in length. An interesting fact: according to a study on Facebook, spring is the season when couples are most likely to break up. Perhaps the balance of day and night encourages people to seek new beginnings. Who knew that an astronomical event could have an impact on our personal lives? It turns out the world's smallest reptile is the size of a fingertip. The world's smallest reptile is the leaf chameleon, native to Madagascar. This tiny creature measures only 29 millimeters from nose to tail, smaller than a fingertip. Despite its minuscule size, male leaf chameleons boast bright green and orange patterns, while the females have elegant shades of brown and beige. Discovered in 2012, this remarkable species continues to amaze scientists with its tiny yet colorful existence. Did you know there's a glacier on Pluto the size of Texas and Oklahoma combined? It turns out that on the distant dwarf planet Pluto, there's a massive glacier called Sputnik Planitia. This glacier covers an area the size of Texas and Oklahoma combined. Amazingly, this glacier is made of nitrogen ice, not water, as it would be on Earth. At the center of this region lies a heart-shaped feature made of frozen nitrogen that slowly flows, similar to glaciers on Earth. This fascinating landscape is just one of Pluto's mysteries that continue to amaze scientists. Each planet in our solar system is truly unique. Why is there a village in Norway where it's Christmas every day? In the Norwegian village of Drøbak, a festive Christmas spirit lasts all year long. There's a Santa Claus museum, a postal service for sending holiday letters, and shops full of Christmas decorations. Even in summer, you can feel like it's winter, and the locals happily maintain this festive atmosphere. Tourists come here to experience a holiday wonderland, leaving with smiles and holiday cheer. Did you know the world's smallest dog weighs just half a kilogram? Meet Millie, a Chihuahua from Puerto Rico, who holds the title of the world's smallest dog. Millie is only 9.65 centimeters tall, or about 3.8 inches, and weighs around 500 grams, just over 1 pound. When she was born in 2011, She was so tiny that she had to be fed through a pipette. Millie has earned her place in the Guinness World Records as the smallest living dog, and her tiny size makes her a true star among dog lovers. Is it possible? The world's largest flower can reach 3 feet in diameter. Meet the Rafflesia, a giant flower that astonishes with its size. The diameter of this extraordinary plant can reach nearly 1 meter, making it a true botanical wonder. But it's not just its size that makes the Rafflesia famous. Its smell resembles rotting meat, attracting pollinating insects. This enormous, eccentric plant perfectly illustrates the diversity of nature, showing that flowers can be not only beautiful but also absolutely surprising. Can you believe that the world's oldest cheese was found in a tomb over 3,000 years old? In 2014, archaeologists in China made an incredible discovery. The world's oldest cheese, buried in the tomb of a nobleman from the Bronze Age. Dating back to the 16th century BCE, this ancient cheese was made from a mixture of cow, goat, and sheep's milk. Thanks to the unique burial conditions, the cheese was well preserved, with a crumbly texture and a salty flavor. Interestingly, the bacteria used to make this cheese had consumed the lactose during fermentation, making it lactose-free. Can you pronounce a word with 189,000 letters? The longest word in the English language is the chemical name of the protein titin, and it consists of a staggering 189,000 letters. Pronouncing it could take several hours. Of course, such a word isn't used in everyday life, but it exists as a linguistic marvel of science. This fact shows just how complex and amazing language can be when it comes to science and chemistry. How about this? Dubai is building skyscrapers that rotate. In Dubai, they are designing skyscrapers that will slowly rotate around their own axis, changing the view from the windows. The idea is that residents can enjoy a new view every day, with sunlight evenly illuminating the building. With such innovations, Dubai remains at the forefront of architectural thinking, creating structures that are not only beautiful, but practical for use in hot climates. It's interesting that Tokyo has no street addresses. In Tokyo, addresses are assigned not to streets but to buildings, which is very unusual for a large city. Buildings are numbered in order of construction, not by their location on a street. This means finding the right address for the first time can be challenging if you're not familiar with the area. Instead of streets, residents and visitors orient themselves by metro stations and districts, giving Tokyo a unique charm and character. Did you know one lightning strike could toast 100,000 slices of bread? A single lightning strike can generate enough energy to toast about 100,000 slices of bread. This figure highlights the colossal power of lightning and its ability to generate incredible amounts of energy in just fractions of a second. Next time you see lightning, imagine how powerful nature is, not only booming thunderously, but also capable of powering an entire electric grid. Nature continues to astonish with its immense potential. Can you imagine the world's longest bridge stretches over 160 kilometers? The Danyang Kunshan Grand Bridge in China holds the title of the world's longest bridge, stretching over 164 kilometers. This engineering marvel is part of the Beijing-Shanghai high-speed railway. Spanning lakes, fields, and valleys, the bridge not only astounds with its length, but also offers travelers breathtaking views as they speed across at up to 300 kilometers per hour. Did you know there are more plastic flamingos than real ones in the world? This is no joke. The plastic flamingos that often adorn lawns and yards have become so popular that there are now more of them than living flamingos in the wild. This surprising fact about pop culture shows how even seemingly random decorative elements can take over the world. The plastic flamingo has become a symbol of American lawn design and has gained massive popularity. Who would have thought that toy birds could outnumber their living counterparts? Every cat has a unique nose print. Just like humans have unique fingerprints, cats have their own special patterns on their noses. Each cat's nose has a distinct print that can be used to identify them, much like how fingerprints work for people. This trait makes every cat's nose completely unique and adds a bit of personality to their charm. So if you have a furry purring friend at home, know that their nose is as unique as their character. This amazing fact highlights how diverse and mysterious the feline world is, where even the smallest details matter. Did you know that koalas have fingerprints just like humans? Yes, these fluffy Australian creatures have fingerprints that are almost identical to those of humans. Their intricate and unique patterns are so similar that if a koala left a print at a crime scene, it could be mistaken for a human's. This surprising similarity adds to their charm, making them even more fascinating. Nature never ceases to amaze, creating such unexpected similarities between species. Imagine koalas as little detectives, leaving their own unique traces in the eucalyptus forests. It's interesting that Italy has a failed skyscraper. In Milan, there is a skyscraper that locals call the Failure. The Pirelli building, constructed in the 1950s, became a symbol of architectural failure, constantly requiring repairs due to design flaws. Despite its modern shape, the building became an object of mockery, but over time, it transformed into one of the city's iconic landmarks thanks to its unusual fate. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Hard to believe, but snakes can sleep with their eyes open. Snakes don't blink because they don't have eyelids. Instead, their eyes are covered by a transparent scale. During sleep, their eyes remain open, giving the impression that they are always watching their surroundings. This feature helps snakes stay alert to threats, even while resting. The transparent scale also protects their eyes from dust and dirt, which is especially important for desert and forest dwellers. It's an incredible adaptation that allows them to sense danger, even in their sleep. Penguins propose with pebbles. Adelie penguin males don't just seek a mate, they stage a true romantic ritual in the icy vastness of Antarctica. When it's time to win over a female, the male carefully selects the smoothest and most beautiful pebble he can find and presents it to his chosen one as a symbol of his affection. If she accepts this gift, she's ready to pair up with him. This charming gesture has become a symbol of courtship among penguins, adding a touch of warmth to the frozen Antarctic landscape. Imagine if we replaced engagement rings with pebbles.